On the road, you learn a lot of things, a bit of their language, and even where they're taking you. They call it Tenochtitlan, and whenever they talk about it, their eyes always glow. After 2 weeks of waiting, you reach Tenochtitlan. Now you understand why their eyes glow. It's a city unlike anything you thought possible. Although you've only known your village, not even your wildest imagination could have prepared you for a city that looks to be floating in the middle of a lake. Inside the city, you're taken to a market. It holds more people than you've seen in your entire life. You and the others are herded into the slave area. It is there that you realize your village wasn't the only one raided. Many more were victims of the Mexica. You can tell by the different markings on different faces. Over the next few days, you witness people become goods. Like fruit displayed in a stall, they point, examine, bargain, and pay. You see people drop bags of their city's currency, cocoa beans, for a human of their choosing. It's that simple. You've been in the market for weeks when a group arrives. Among them are priests. You recognize them now by their dress and how the warriors treat them. You watch them move through the holding area, evaluating. One of them watches you intently. You pretend not to notice. Fortunately, they pass you. You think you're safe, until one of them comes back. He points at you as he negotiates with the warrior in charge. You watch a pouch of cocoa beans change hands as your life, all of a sudden, belongs to another. The priests walk you and a handful of girls your age to a building marked Siwakali, House of Women. Inside, you're all handed to an old woman. The old woman studies each face without much ceremony and hands you off to another woman. Her name is Itzel. She says it like she said it to a dozen girls before you and will say it to a dozen more. She tells you that you'll stay with her as she'll teach you everything, the language, the customs, and why you're here. She explains what the Siwakali is. She tells you that it literally means a house of women. She says that some of you will cook, weave, and clean, but most of you were not bought for that. You were bought to be Awiyanime, a joy woman. You ask her what it means. She doesn't explain. What she does explain are the do's and don'ts of the building. She tells you about the house's patron goddess, Xochiquetzal, the goddess of beauty. But she mentions that you wouldn't find an altar for her here. Instead, she walks you past a statue standing in the courtyard. She tells you that the statue here is of Tletzotliol, the goddess of filth. That the city wants to always remind the joy women of their place as filth. What Iztel doesn't say is that Tletzotliol is also believed to cause STDs, and by placing her statue here, they hope to isolate all STDs to this building. She also tells you that the rooms that face the statue are off limits to you, at least for now. You ask why. She says that's where the joy women do their work. Now you're curious about them. 3 years pass as you become fluent in Nahuatl, the native language. But Iztel does more than just teach you the language. She also teaches you small lessons you don't notice piling up. She teaches you how to walk so your jewelry doesn't tangle, how to hold a conversation with a man who isn't really listening, and how to laugh on command without it reaching your eyes. At this point, you're almost unrecognizable from the natives. Almost. Then you turn 14. One morning, Iztel takes you to a room. You've never been here before. There you see other women, joy women, dressing up the way the role actually demands. You see them wearing their hair loose the way no respectable woman in the entire empire wears hers. You also see them paint their faces yellow. When you look at Iztel, you see her looking right back at you. She bends to your eye level and explains what's going on carefully. Iztel tells you that the head of the Siwakali, the old woman you met when you first arrived, says you're old enough to become a joy woman. She explains finally exactly what it means. They're state-recognized prostitutes. The truth is that the Aztec Empire was actually very conservative, as intercourse outside of marriage was punishable by death for ordinary women. The men? A slap on the wrist before being given an axe and sent into battle. So their solution to their women being killed is you. She tells you that you'll be available to warriors, to priests, and to whichever man can pay. She also tells you that you'll dance at festivals when the city wants. Then she loosens your hair and applies the paint on you. She does the same to herself as she goes with you to the market. She tells you that joy women stand in the market, as that is where you'll be approached by men drawn to the paint. While standing with her, You learn that the same paint that's supposed to draw clients toward you does something else. It tells every other woman in that market exactly what you are. They don't like it. You hear girls who might have been your friends in another life whisper as they pass. You even see one woman tapping her husband on the head because his eyes lingered on itself for more than a second. Everyone laughs, then spits at both of you. Isdell laughs and tells you that it's normal. She says you'll get used to it. You're not sure about that. Later that day, as you and Isdell walk back to the Siwakali, she notices your sad mood. That's when she tells you something that gives you hope. She mentions that a joy woman can become free if somebody chooses to marry her. You ask if it's true. She swears on her life as she laughs. You're so happy that you laugh all the way back while making fun of the man whose head got slapped. You never ask if she has ever seen it happen. Maybe if you had, you might have been realistic to your plight. Over the next few months, you go to the market by yourself. You endure both the hostile gaze of the women and the ravenous gaze of the men. The women wouldn't touch you with a 10-foot pole. The men, on the other hand, are drawn to you like flies. The first man to pay you for your services is a warrior. You can guess that much from his dressing and bearing. He carries a bloody smell that reminds you of your father. You also notice that he's a man of few words, as the only thing he tells you is that he needs your services. You just nod and lead him back to the Siwakali. After all, intercourse before marriage is believed to cause STDs. This is why the deed has to be done in one of the rooms facing the Tlazolteotl statue, as it's believed the goddess can prevent STDs.